Okay, let's talk about private evals, because this is a core thing of what Turing offers to its customers. So I'm curious, let's say that I'm OpenAI, I have a new model, I want you guys to take a look at it. You find a couple of places where it's not quite up to snuff, not quite where we expected it to be. So then do you turn around and say, hey guys, here are the places where there are gaps, and then help them solve those issues? Or do you guys just point out, here's the spot where, you might want to do some more work?
So we do both. We evaluate the model and we generate data to help the models improve. But let me take a step back, Alex, and let's look at this landscape, which is super interesting right now. So, what's happening is, as these models have gotten smarter and smarter, the data that's needed to advance the models has become increasingly harder to generate. Right? The models are advancing in depth; they're improving in coding, STEM, reasoning, etc. They're advancing in breadth, in multimodality, multilinguality, multi-industry, etc. And the models are becoming agentic, meaning the models can now execute complex multi-step workflows in a real-world business context. Now, with the models advancing like this, what's needed in a platform is you don't just need Iron Man, you need the Avengers. Yeah, frontier models need frontier data. Frontier data needs a team of frontier humans, right? So we have like PhDs from physics, chemistry, math, biology, expert Olympiad level coders, people who are literally at the pinnacle of their fields. And sometimes you have to have them working together to break the model. For example, in physics, if an expert is evaluating the model in physics to test some theory in physics, you might want a PhD in physics might ask the question to test a theory. A software engineer might need to build a simulation to test that theory. And then a data scientist might have to analyze the results of that simulation. So you need to daisy chain really smart humans together to generate data. The platform...
Actually, Jonathan, can I talk to you about that? Because what you're describing to me sounds like very interesting tests. Having people with different domain expertises work together to find places where the model might have a weakness or might not be able to answer something. And then you say that they're generating data. Is the data they're generating simply where the LLM in question misses or doesn't meet expectations? Because I thought this was more like, here's new information for the LLM to be trained on versus looking at a model that's already been trained. And then, does that make sense? I feel like I may have had this backwards.
That's a great question, Alex. So the way these models are trained is there's a step called pre-training, where you basically feed the model gobs and gobs of data. The war in pre-training is mostly over. Like almost all the models are trained on the same subset of the internet. Now the battlefield is post-training, and there's a new field called mid-training, which is, I can get into that later. But with post-training, what you do is you have these human experts create question-answer pairs, where a software engineer might ask a question like, hey, how do you create an app that connects dog walkers to dogs? And can you write it in both Swift and Kotlin for Android, right? Sure. And now the system has to generate the app. So that's an example of a supervised fine-tuning data set where you give it a prompt and a completion, and the model learns how to respond to that prompt, right? So you need experts in different fields. Now, the reason this has gotten harder is 2 years ago, a very low-skilled contractor was capable of creating tokens that could have advanced the model. Now, because the floor has gone up, now you need PhDs from Stanford, Berkeley, MIT, to figure out where the models break. You first have to break the model. You have to ask a question that literally stumps the model. And then the humans create good question pairs of questions and answers that you then feed into the model for fine-tuning, and then the model learns.
That's called it's the question and answer pairs that generates the data for the model. Okay, now that makes good sense to me.